What's up, guys? Rashad with Bad Beats here, and today I'll be bringing you my Virtual World P.U.N.K deck profile. So I've been heavily interested in the P.U.N.K archetype ever since it got announced, and when I saw that, I was like, I love this artwork, I have to play this deck. Unfortunately, the deck did not look very strong as a standalone deck, so I decided to throw it in Virtual World because they have a lot of synergy together. So we'll get on into the deck profile. We'll start off with the Virtual World cards. Of course, we've got 3 copies of Lulu because she's your searcher. 3 copies of Lao Lao. You can cut this one down to 2 if you would like. 3 copies of Gigi. This is a normal summonable Virtual World monster, which is important sometimes. Sometimes you just have to normal summon one to start the plays. We got 2 copies of Karen Lily. This one ideally targets a monster, and you send your Revival Trap and your King Long, which searches monsters. And then 2 copies of Nian because you get the recycle this card a lot in this deck, and you get to summon it off of a lot of different things in this deck. So that's the Virtual World engine. And also Nian recycles your banished cards, which you banish a lot of cards in this deck. On to the punks. We play 3 copies of Ogre Dance. This one, if it's in your hand, you discard it, add a punk monster that's not level 8 to your hand. You contribute a level 3 punk monster, special summon him from your hand out onto the field. Foxy has the same summoning effect. When it's in your hand, you discard it in another card and you special summon a punk to the field from the deck. So we only play 2 copies of this one because of the discard. You already had the discard for the Virtual World Trap and the King Long, so we didn't want a whole bunch of discarding going on. So that's why we only play 2 copies of this one. Next is the best normal summon punk, which is Xiaomin. This one's your searcher. Pay 600, search for any punk card that's not her. When she leaves the board, give a punk card 600 attack. Next, we play 2 copies of Wagon. You can play Madam Spider if you want to play the traps instead. We don't play any of the punk traps. We play some spell cards. She's pay 600, add a punk spell card to your hand. When she's on the field, if a punk is attacked or targeted by a card effect, once returned, draw a card. 2 of the punks, Shirakusai. When he's on the board, pay 600, fuse with punks from your hand or field. On your opponent's turn, quick effect, pay 600, synchro summon. So the synchro summon effect is really good, and we'll get into that later. Next, almost everything's psychic in the deck. So of course we're playing 3 emergency teleport. I'm really glad this card came back to 3. It's one of my all-time favorite cards, and it's extremely good in this deck. Next is Kowloon, goes typical Virtual World card. King Long, typical Virtual World card. If you open this and Foxy Tune, you pretty much have full combo. You get to start searching up all your Virtual World cards and then getting your punk engine going at the same time. So that's the best opener. And then of course you'll have 3 other cards to help you extend. Then we play 1 Crash Beat. If one of your punk cards is targeted for an effect, you get to target and destroy one of your opponent's cards. If this is destroyed, punks can be destroyed by card effects for the turn. And we have 1 copy of Wild Picking. And Damage Step, if a punk monster is in battle, once per turn, destroy the opponent's monster. So that's really good removal. It is targeting removal, but it is removal. If this is destroyed by a card effect, punks can be destroyed by battle for the turn. And then we're playing 1 Desires because you need the consistency. You want to see different Virtual World names in the hands. So of course you want to have Desires and have a chance to draw into 2 more Virtual Worlds. And the last 3 cards we play are 3 traps. We play 2 copies of Chuchi and 1 copy of Zhao Wu. So Chuchi is the one that modifies level. You want to play this off gate because it sets up an interruption on your opponent's turn. You can pop one of their cards while shuffling 2 of your banished cards back in, which helps you recycle cards as well. And then the other gate, you discard a card from your hand and revive a Virtual World from grave with its effects negated. So it's like a monster reborn to help you extend. And then in the extra deck, we play 2 copies of Rising Carp, which is the punk fusion. When he's on the board and he's been fusion summoned, you contribute him to summon 2 different punks from your deck that are level 3 with different names. And then when he's used as synchro material, that monster can attack twice. And then with him, you'll be synchro summoning into Amazing Dragon. So what Amazing Dragon does is when it's synchro summoned, you can bounce cards from your opponent's board back to the hand up to the number of level 3 psychic tuners you control or in your graveyard. So typically you'll have between 2 to 4 set up, and so that's between 2 to 4 card bounces that you'll bounce on your opponent's turn because you'll be using that quick synchro summon effect to synchro into this on their turn. On your turn, he has another effect where you can special summon a punk from the graveyard, which helps you OTK, because you can use that effect, revive this guy, and then you have any other punk, and then you just, well, you want Zia Min specifically, because you use her and him, and then you synchro on another one of these. It gains 600 attack, and it can attack twice for the turn. So it's a 3600 dual attacker if you do it that way. So that's like the best way to bring him back out. Also, you can only use one of these effects per turn. So if you use his effect to summon one from the grave, and you synchro into another one, you can't bounce cards anymore. That's it. Like, that's the one effect you can get. And on with the other synchros is one copy of Juju for removal. Starless Charge Ward to draw. Coral Dragon is also removal and draw. Croco Dragon's also removal and draw. We have Vermilion for more removal and recursion. You'll banish a tuner that you want to get back, so if they get rid of him, you'll get that card back to your hand. Then, of course, we play the one Shen Shen because it's Virtual World deck and this card's insanely good. So, most of the meta right now is kind of relying on the graveyard with Eldritch and Phantom Knight, Brave being like two of the best decks. There's some Phantom Knight, not Phantom Knight, some Brave Prank Kid decks going around too. They also need their graveyard, so this like stops a lot of matchups. If they don't open like a Chalice, Droplet, or Imperm to hit this card, then that makes it hard for your opponent to play through. Not to mention you'll have your Chuchi set up and your Croco Dragon. You'll always have two cards in your hand throughout this play, so you'll have a pop here and you'll have a pop here, and both of those cards will be getting banished while he's on the board. And then for the XEs, we play one Fan also for removal, a Gossip Shadow, and Downard Zeus to go on top of the Gossip Shadow. His effect comes up quite a bit, honestly, too, which is good because it attaches both the materials, but then you can throw this on and this, so your Zeus still has a live Sin. But sometimes it stops you from like a Pivotal Ash or a Nib or something like that, so that's why I play this one instead of Break Sword. Because I really didn't ever want to pop my own cards to use Break Sword's effect. But that's the deck, guys. Next, I'll be doing Inzectors. That's one I actually really look forward to. I've been wanting to play that deck again for a long time, and the new support was very well needed, and the support card is actually not bad. So I'll be bringing that one to you guys soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.